Hey everybody, I'm back with another video. I just wanted to record this video to clear up some misconceptions that people have about sickle cell. And feel free to comment, respond, or ask any more questions you may have. But the first thing that I want to get clear up is you cannot catch sickle cell disease. You can't have sex with someone and contract sickle cell disease from another human being. That's not how this disease works. Yes, it is a blood disease. You would think if you mixed your blood with someone else's or bodily fluids with someone else's, you can catch it, but it doesn't work that way, people. I just want to clear that up. So first thing people ask me who aren't familiar with sickle cell, the first thing they say is, how'd you get it? Or when did you get it? I will say everyone doesn't find out the same. I was born with it. You have to absolutely, positively be born with sickle cell to have it. You have to be born with it. Works like this. My mom had the sickle cell trait, which you cannot catch either. My dad, who she met, also has sickle cell trait. With the trait, you rarely have any issues. You don't really get sick or go into pain crises. It's just a dormant trait in your body. Okay? Mom, dad. You make a baby, and voila, I have the full-blown disease. Yes, that's how this works. Okay? If my mother had the sickle cell trait, and my father didn't have sickle cell trait, it would have been a possibility that I could have been born with the trait or without the trait. Therefore, I would have to be careful with who I decide to have a child with later on in life, because if my future husband were to have the trait, we would contract a child and birth them with sickle cell disease. Okay? That's how it works. If I've confused anybody, rewind or question me on that, and I'll break it down real smooth for you. So, being that I do have the full-blown disease, I still have to be careful with who I have a child with, because if they have the trait, then my child could possibly have sickle cell disease. Most likely will have, if I meet someone with the trait. I do have a 4-year-old. His father did not have the trait. So my son has the sickle cell trait, but he does not have the disease. You have to be careful when you have sickle cell and you decide to have a child, because you don't want to bear a child and they're born with the illness. My mom's biggest fear was when I was a baby. You know, I was told at the hospital I had sickle cell. I was sent home knowing I had sickle cell. Was that I would be in some type of pain and I couldn't express to her that I was in pain. So if I was a baby and I was just crying, you know, she didn't know if I was hungry, needed to be changed, or was in pain. So I'm sure there was different cries, but I'm just trying to make my point as to the complications you can deal with when you have a child with sickle cell disease. Furthermore, how you find out is usually in the hospital. Now, they test you for it before you leave. I didn't ask to have a test ran on my son. I just got a letter a few days after we got home from the hospital that he did have the trait. So that's how I found out. At birth, they ran a test like they would run any other test on a newborn. I know people who are older than me who did not know they had sickle cell for a very long time. Was in pain, was sick, didn't know what was going on. And a lot of times doctors don't think to check for sickle cell. Just like doctors don't probably think to check for lupus. If you don't request it, they're not going to give you that test. I met a lady the other day who just recently had a series of hospital visits, and I asked her, you know, I work at a pharmacy, I asked her, you know, what's going on with you? It could be sickle cell, you should get tested. Come to find out she had lupus, which in my opinion is like the cousin of sickle cell, because you can have a lot of the same problems with lupus. But yeah, she found out and she told me she's 35. My hematologist, which is my blood doctor, informed me that there was a girl my age in his office. She was a new patient. She had just had her first child, and after the 3 days when she was supposed to go home, she couldn't because she was in so much pain. Come to find out, they ran tests on her and she had sickle cell disease, full blown. Grown woman, didn't even know her whole life she had sickle cell disease. So that goes to show you, with so many different kinds of sickle cell out there, a lot of people are blessed to have it and not know they've had it for that long. You know, if you hadn't had pain crises till after you had your firstborn child, I mean, God really spares you. God really blessed you not to have to deal with a lot of pain and suffering that comes with sickle cell disease growing up with it. But a lot of people don't know. I know a lady who told me the other day she just found out her neighbor's son has it. I said, how old was your neighbor's son? I'm thinking she's going to say a newborn or baby or something. He's 30-something years old. And I'm like, wow, like how can you not know? But there's a lot of doctors out there who don't test for it. So it's something good to know. It's good news to have. That's the first thing I wanted to clear up about sickle cell, about how you can catch it. How you cannot catch it, how you have to be born with it. Another thing is, because there's so many different kinds, doesn't affect everyone the same. Me, I pretty much just have pain crises, acute chest syndrome, which is equivalent to pneumonia. At least I've known to have pneumonia at least once a year, sometimes twice a year. 2013 I did pretty good. I had a touch of it, no hospital stay for that time, but you know, with there being so many different kinds, it can be severe, it can be mild, moderate, everything. So I don't want someone that has sickle cell, whose friend has it, who's in the hospital every day, every week, every month, to think another person with sickle cell is also in the hospital the same amount of time. No, that's not true. I have probably 2 to 3 visits a year where I have to stay for a week or two, which God has really blessed me, because my best friend that had sickle cell, she was one of those people who was in the hospital every month. So she was very blessed to live as long as she did with it. But as I, tell you, it's a very severe disease. Something else I want to touch on is that you can have kids with sickle cell. I was very naive. I wasn't promiscuous as a young teenage girl, but you have those times where you want to believe that because you have an illness, you can't catch certain things. Now, I haven't ever had anything but sickle cell, but for some reason in my mind, when I met my first love, I had a few pregnancy scares, and I felt like after the scares were just scares, after a while, I couldn't get pregnant. I just thought I couldn't. That was me being young, dumb, and naive. Yes, you can. You can get pregnant just like the next person. Sickle cell does not stop you from living a normal life. It doesn't stop you from catching anything else. For the longest time, I was told you can't catch malaria with sickle cell. That's not true either. if you have the sickle cell trait, because sickle cell traits are dormant in the body, you can't catch malaria, but you can catch it if you have sickle cell full-blown disease. So it has a few, maybe one benefit, a few, but it does not have a lot of benefits. So just because you have sickle cell, or you know someone that has it, does not exempt them from giving birth or from participating in certain activities. Now, I will say I was restricted from a lot of PE exercise activities in school, because I didn't want to, if I get dehydrated or too tired, it made me sick and things like that. So you have to weigh your goods and your bads, and you have to know yourself and know your body when you have sickle cell. Or a lot of people date people that have sickle cell, and I will say it's tough. You have to be strong for that person. You really do. You have to be understanding. You have to love them enough to know that, you know, their health comes before anything else, or they won't be in your life. For example, arguing, that's a no-no, okay? People are going to argue, they're going to disagree, but let me tell you what. The person that doesn't have sickle cell is going to walk away from their argument, be mad, they make up, they're good the next day. The person with sickle cell is going to walk away from their argument, they're going to walk away, they're going to be upset, they're going to start hurting, and they're going to be in pain. So things like that are things you have to be mindful of. We need help, assistance, someone to lift us up, support us, you know, things like that. Anyone out there dating someone with sickle cell, thank you for being there for them. I'll thank you for them. You know, it takes a lot of strength, courage to be with someone with any kind of disease, not just sickle cell. Because you really never know how long a person's going to live or what they're going to go through next. One thing I will say that saddened me was when I was in high school and we covered the topic in science, biology, chemistry class. The teacher said, yeah, when you have sickle cell, you don't have a normal life expectancy. I'm in high school, 9th grade. I was devastated. I went home crying to my mom. Mom, I don't have a normal life expectancy. Oh my God, I'm going to die before I get to college. And she was like, who said that and why? She went to the school and she went off. She really did. She let them know. You know, as a science teacher, you shouldn't say things like that. You already know what this disease is. You're teaching about it, and yet you say these things like people in your class, you know, some of your students may not have the disease. You have to be careful about what you say. And sure enough, when I got a regular doctor, a regular hematologist, and they realized my situation wasn't as severe, he told me, as long as I take care of myself, meaning exercise, eat healthy, eat right, take my medicine, that I possibly have a normal life expectancy. He doesn't see any reason why I shouldn't have a normal life expectancy. And I hopped off that bed and that table in the office and hugged him and about started crying. I mean, we've all seen TLC movie. It told T-Boz that she wouldn't live past 30. You know, I don't know why doctors get off telling people how long they're going to live. God has the final say. And if you're not a believer in God, doctors don't have the final say. Just know that. You know what I mean? So there's a lot of misconceptions about this disease that I just wanted to get cleared up for certain people watching and certain people that had questions about it. Trying to think about everything to see if I covered it.